Hello, Bojang. I liked that video. That's, matter of fact, that's the best I've seen you in a long time. It was nice to see. It was really nice to see. That's the old Bojang again, right? Back like she used to be. I did disagree with a lot of your points. And just like I also disagree with the psychic truth people, or the ones you mentioned on YouTube. There's a great danger, I think, in trying to corral anything into one simple group. And it's a huge danger with anything dealing with mental health. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example. Borderline personality disorder, for one, is an illness that is, like you were saying, best treated with therapy, perhaps with some drugs as support, but with enough therapy and working through the problems which actually caused it in the first place, a person can get over borderline personality disorder. On the other hand, I have bipolar disorder. My brain doesn't regulate my moods. So the moods that I feel have no relation to the reality around me. I can go from ecstatic to horrendously depressed in 30 seconds for no reason. I didn't have anything real traumatic happen in my life to cause this. It's entirely a physical reaction. It's hereditary. I could find other people in my family that's had the same problem. They have been able to isolate in testing some genetic markers now in people with bipolar disorder. They can spot the effects of some of the antidepressants in the brain. Not necessarily on the serotonin levels, etc., but what they can spot is that they actually change the size of the hypothalamus, which is where they think that things like bipolar disorder originate. In people that are severely depressed, for example, the hypothalamus, if you do a brain scan, is smaller. And when you give them antidepressants, it gets bigger, and then they feel better. That's one reason the antidepressants take 2 weeks to work. It's not like taking an aspirin. So there is actually physical evidence for it. You could take my brain and dissect. Well, no, you couldn't take it and dissect it because I'm rather using it at the moment. But yeah, once I'm done, could dissect it, and you would find a lot more nerve ganglia in there than in the average person. Because during my periods of depression, and I use depression only because there's not another word for it. It's not sadness, as a person with bipolar experiences it. It's not sadness. It's not anything like that. It's more of a void. It's just, that's how the body interprets it. And that's the word we use for it, because it's the only one there is to use for it. But in those times when there's just not enough chemical to work with, the body actually hunts for more of the chemical and grows more nerve material out there to try to find it. And they can measure this, so they can find it. But of course it kills you, and so they do it in cadavers. There's a lot of proof for some illnesses being physical. It does actually work. They've even tracked down a potential viral cause now to bipolar disorder. The Center for Disease Control in the United States has isolated a particular virus that they think damages the brain and brings on the symptoms. And some people would be susceptible to the virus, and the people that show symptoms for bipolar disorder test way off the scale for the antibodies for it, and other people don't. So it does apparently match. And if you give that virus to monkeys, they show symptoms of bipolar disorder. So some things are quite physical. Now some things are not. There's a bunch of mental illnesses out there that are best treated by psychology, by counseling, by therapy. Just not all. Because sometimes it's not a therapy problem. 4 years ago, when I got in my car at work and intended to jump off a bridge, I was going to therapy. And it wasn't bad thinking. It wasn't that something horrible had happened. It was the pain. I just wanted to stop the pain, and that was the only way I could think of to do it. And fortunately I didn't. 30% of the males that have what I have do it. And it's not a matter of bad thinking or bad upbringing or a bad childhood. It's bad chemicals and bad regulation. So, some of us, we have to live on the pills. Otherwise, you wouldn't like us very much. And we wouldn't be around much. But for everybody else, yeah. Psychology is a wonderful, wonderful discipline. And for things such as eating disorders, for example, it's the cat's meow. It really is. You don't throw pills at everything, but you do throw them at some things. Anyway, have a good one. And again, it was so nice to see you looking so well. Talk to you later.